it. Well, even Braley could learn some things off Connor. That's how bad it is. And so I don't know if Rowley, if the juice is worth the squeeze as it is with the attacking side of things. But I suppose one of his other options that probably is a better defensive option would be Dan Sargentson, and he's out now for the rest of the season, along with James Greenwood. He's been ruled out for the rest of the season as well. Paul Rowley's confirmed. So maybe he has to stick with him and find a way of improving Braley's defence.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because you see these players that are quality attackers, and you just wish you could teach them to tackle, but then by this point in their career, is it too late to be able to?
And I think it's not just tackling with Braley. Like, Connor has a one-on-one tackling issue at times. I think Jay Field at Wigan is still learning the positional side of things, but his speed makes up for a lot. You know, there's things you can look at players, but he just doesn't seem to have the positional things right either, Braley. That's the issue. But then with the ball, it's vital to what they do.
Yeah. I don't envy Paul Rowley making that call.
No, it's a tough one for them to work out. Maybe like when they've got people like Watkins back and stuff, they can think differently about who they've got where and stuff. But I'm not sure. But
then where would you play him?
Well, Braley's only going to get in this side at fullback, isn't he? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Wakefield are on a good run now. Credit to them for that. They did hang on. They scored a try with about 10 minutes left. Jay Pitt scored it off. Really good work from Liam Kay. More good work in the air. I think if Joe Burgess was playing on the wing for Salford, he might have been more competitive on that one than Reece Williams was. But, beat what you played against. And Wakefield did that.
Yeah, you can't do any more than that, can you?
No, and I suppose what you could say is they scored that try at a crucial time because Salford were massively in the ascendancy then. And then after that, they got to play a sin bin, didn't they, for lying on in the ruck and then pretending to be injured. It looked like maybe he was injured.
Yeah, he was still on the floor, wasn't he? And being sin bin, get up and get off.
Yeah, it definitely was delaying the play of the ball by about 7 or 8 seconds. So it was a fair call. But not enough for Salford to win it. Do you want to take us through the standings?
Yeah, so in terms of the standings of the Super League table, St Helens stay top on 12 points ahead of Wigan on points difference. Huddersfield overtake Catalans again on points difference into third. Both have 10 points. Hull FC are fifth on 8 points. Everyone else has lost more games than they've won after 7 rounds. Wakefield lead a group of 4 on 6 points. Who thought we'd be saying that? Along with Warrington, Hull KR and Salford. Castleford in 10th have 4 points. Leeds are 11th and Toulouse 12th, both on 2 points. Some other phrases that you don't think you're going to say.
I think Toulouse have to worry about what's happening with Wakefield and Salford stretching away a little bit even at this stage. When you think about who you're expected to be at the bottom. But then you look at Leeds and I don't see a way out immediately.
No. Joshua and I were talking about this earlier about, just the standings in the table and could Leeds be relegated? That's what Joshua kept saying.
We're a long way from that, but similarly, we've played a quarter of the season, haven't we? No, a third of the season nearly. A quarter of the season, but...
Let's face it, they've not looked like winning many, have they?
No, they've not looked like scoring enough points to win a dozen or so games, that's for sure. So they're certainly out of the playoff race in many ways, I think, right now already.
Yeah, that match that they did win against Wakefield was dour, to say the least.
Well, they had a great first half, didn't they? But Wakefield won the second half of that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stat line of the week. I've picked out Beretta Faraimo because he made the most meters, 232, with 2 clean breaks as well. And I just think, we've criticised him rightly quite a bit this year, but that's a big number.
It is a big number, yeah.
It was close with Danny Houghton, but when I looked at Danny Houghton's missed tackle numbers, there was quite a lot of them as well as made tackles.
Yeah.
Player of the week. I've gone for the 40-minute man, Tom Johnston, personally, because he absolutely owned that game more than any other player owned a game for the 40 minutes he was on the field in that last game we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very hard to look apart from him, as you say, when he's only played half a match.
In the predictions from last week, I went 5 out of 6. David went 6 out of 6. He had a perfect week. I can't remember who let me down.
Huddersfield?
Yeah, I think I went Catalans, didn't I? So really, the wins in the south of France let me down. Any excuse.
Yeah.
But I stay top of the host Super Brew. David has the yellow cap. He's gone into second, jumping above you, Scoots, and Alan is last in that league. In the main Super Brew, David has the yellow cap in that as well. So
What?
double cap job for him today. John McNelly stays top of the table, however. And in the Fantasy League, talking about people staying top of the table, Simon Andrew Arthur nailed it this week. He scored 810, which top scored in our mini league. Extending his lead at the top. He obviously saw the writing on the wall and picked Tom Johnston and dropped Alex Walmsley, whereas I went the other way around. He was the third best of all players in the entire competition with his 810.
Very impressive score.
Yeah, well done, Simon. Thanks everyone who got their fan views in on the Google form this week for both match reviews and the news stuff that we got filled in as well by AFC, but great to have reviews on all the games. Hope to see that again next week. We're now going to move on to kind of the quick hit parts of the show, and we're going to hit the other results first.
Okay, so in other results, it was the Women's Challenge Cup Week 4. In Group 1, it finished Barrow 39, the Army 0, and Warrington 0, St Helens 54.
Yeah, so despite that heavy defeat, Warrington progressed along with St Helens from Group 1 in the Challenge Cup.
In Group 2, it finished Leeds 92, Lee Minor Rangers 0, and Hull FC 0, Huddersfield 114.
And it's not surprising that Leeds and Huddersfield progress from that group to the quarterfinals.
Group 3, it was Dewsbury Moor 4, Bradford 22.
Yeah, York and Wigan had played a couple of weeks ago their other game, so only one game in that group this week, but York and Wigan had already progressed last week through this one.
And Group 4 finished Featherstone 86, Castleford 0, and Wakefield 12, the Alton Raidettes 14.
Yeah, it's Featherstone and Alton who go through from that group. That game, the last game, that game was on our league. I watched most of that game. It was a closely fought game. Wakefield came back into it quite late on, but Alton were able to hold on. They had a few players playing for them that are in the Leeds Rhinos Academy structure.
Yeah.
So not Leeds first team players, but soon to be or eventually will be Leeds first team players. So they helped him out quite a lot for Alton, but good, closely competitive game. Wakefield just made way too many errors in the first half. Way too many. They could have scored 2 or 3 tries that they dropped the kind of last pass on in the first half, so that hurt them. But the quarterfinal draws, the ties are all going to be played on the 10th of April. St Helens versus Huddersfield, that's going to be at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Leeds versus Warrington, that's going to be played at Wheatwood. York versus Alton Raidettes, that's going to be played at the LNER Community Stadium in York. They're all 2 p.m. kickoffs next Sunday. Featherstone versus Wigan, that's a 6 p.m. kickoff at Post Office Road. That's live on our league, and I think they've picked likely the most competitive game there, haven't they? With that lineup, Wigan away at Featherstone could be competitive depending on who's available for Wigan.
Yeah.
But it's good, I suppose, that we're through this group stage because there's been some heck of a lot of one-sided score lines, so nice to be progressing to the knockouts. There has been some news, Sarah, in the women's game. Cardiff Arms Park is going to host the 2022 Women's Super League South Grand Final on Sunday the 28th of August. So yeah, it's quite a famous old ground, isn't it? Used to be used a bit more before they built the Millennium Stadium right next door to it, but it holds 9,000 spectators, so I don't think there'll be 9,000 there, but let's hope we can get something like that. And the women's nines is going to be a new tournament. That's going to be played in Warrington on Sunday the 1st of May at Victoria Park. That's going to be a group stage event that'll have all of the 12 women's Super League sides from the top and the second team, and then the second tier of that, and then invitation teams are going to be included with the likes of the Bristol Golden Ferns, the Catalans Dragons, Dublin City Exiles, London Broncos, Oxford Cavaliers and Salford Red Devils are going to feature as well. What will happen then is the top 6 sides from that group stage will face each other at Salford's AJ Bell Stadium on the 24th of July to fight for the right to be crowned the women's nines champions. So
Great.
There's that women's nines tournament to go alongside the Super League that'll be getting up and running in May as well.
Yes, really good.
Yep.
Moving on to the championship, it was round 7 and it finished Lee 44, Dewsbury 0, Workington 18, York 44, Barrow 18, Batley 30.
Yeah, Carol and Percy 99 got in touch. I don't think he really told us much about this game because he said, what a result from the Doggies, a really underestimated team in my opinion. Then he talks about something else. He says, great to see a couple of the Batley lads in our football pub after the game in the Navigation in Mayfield. After our first ever trophy in the Wakey Cup final, great achievement to say it's our first season formed as a club. So well done to Callum and his round ball teammates. I think Batley got a bit of a lead early on. Barrow lost the heads, I would imagine, because Hakeem Maludi got sent off. And then they never got back into it. But good win away on the road to Batley, first team to beat Barrow this season in the league.
Yeah. It also finished Featherstone 44, Sheffield 18, Halifax 46, Whitehaven 24. That was a real comeback for Halifax.
It was something like 24-10 at half time.
Something like that, yeah. I did see that Halifax fans were getting quite annoyed, and then all of a sudden, second half came and it was a total reversal.
I picked up that they'd won, but I didn't pick up that they'd won by so much. So when I was writing the rundown, I actually went and checked multiple sources to make sure the scoreline was right.
Yeah, that you hadn't just been given some duff information.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24-10 at half time, yeah. In a more close match, it finished London 6, Bradford 8.
Yeah, London had a try ruled out for a double movement in the
right.
I think in the second half. It was Alex Walker who didn't think it was a double movement, but the referee did. So, very close call, cost London winning their first game.
Yeah. And then it finished on Monday night with Newcastle 12, Widnes 6.
Did you catch this one?
I saw only about the last half hour, but I mean, Newcastle's second try, that was a query double movement. I think had there been, video ref and all the rest of it, that would not have been allowed. So
a really close game then, if there was a suspect try as well involved. The first try was Sam Halsall, wasn't it? A diving finish in the corner. I saw that one.
Yes, I had to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In the standings, Featherstone stayed top and unbeaten on 13 points. Leah second on 12 points. York are third on 10 points. Barrow fall to their first defeat. They're on 9 points in fourth. Widnes, Bradford and Newcastle have 8 points. 8th place Batley are on 7 points. Then Sheffield and Halifax have 6 points. Whitehaven have 4. Dewsbury have 2 and London 1. Workington stay pointless at the bottom. There has been some news as well, mostly about signing people from Salford actually to the Championship. Matty Costello has joined Championship club Newcastle Thunder on loan for the rest of the season. Widnes have signed Salford pair Jack Wells and Danny Addy on initial 2-week loan deals. Sounds like Addy was actually one of Widnes's better performers in the Monday night game.
Yeah.
Jack Wells on his second short-term loan in the second Championship club this year, and Barrow have signed France international Morgan Escaray on a short-term loan deal from Salford. I think he's good mates with Hakeem Maludi, so maybe that helped with that move. And then Huddersfield have loaned young hooker George Roby to Championship club Whitehaven on an initial 2-week deal.
Yep. Should we move on to League One?